Hey everybody and welcome back. So this is a follow-up to the video that I made the other day about my concerns about the beast. So first off, I'm currently studying Dying Light 2, as you can all see. There are some reasons for that, but I just wanted to address something real quick. At the start of the video, I did mention that a lot of the thoughts that I was talking about are my opinion, and everybody on the planet that's an adult have the right to have an opinion. But if I say something is fact, that's because I have spoke to people or have actual proof that it's a fact. And as an adult, as you get older, you realize that opinions are important and different people's opinions are important, but also facts are important. And the reason that I bring that up is the comments that I had on the last video were awesome. And to communicate with all of you, thank you so much for the comments that I had. It's outstanding to see the community that we've still got as fans of the Dying Light franchise. There was one comment that I did remove, to be honest with you, and it was basically a guy that came on and he was basically saying that all us fans, so 20 million of us that like Dying Light 1, are all Glazers, and that Dying Light 2 was better, and he went into a whole rant about how everything I said was wrong, even though it isn't, and I've got facts and my own opinions of that. So basically, he was looking for an argument, and my channel, as it states in the description, I'm not looking for arguments or political stuff or racial stuff. So if you bring that to the comment section, you will be removed. But if you want to debate or talk like an adult or rational human being, we can talk all day long. I'm not looking for people who kiss ass, but I am looking for people who are respectful. That said, so the follow-up video to this, why am I stood in Dying Light 2? Well, in the previous video, I stated that the map that we're getting, the Beast, is as big as Old Villador. This was one of the things that the guy who was looking for an argument brought up, and he said, it's not, it's the size of the city over there. It's not, it's the size of Old Villador. I'm going to link, and I don't do this, but there's a content creator called Onizombies, and he's actually flew out to Techland and spoke to Timon Spectator, the lead director of this game. And Onizombies himself said that the beast is as big as this. This is Old Villador. So as you can see the boundary. Anything that's yellow is a boundary. The city is obviously a boundary. It's another area. This is all boundary. So it's a pretty small area, right? So when we're talking, we're paying £60 for the base game, or as I did, I purchased the deluxe for 80. That's a big ask for a very small area. As I said, Onizombies has been out there, he's played the game, and he spoke to the lead director, and he confirms that the beast is as big as Old Villador. Can it be big in size, even though the width and length is small? Yes, because you can have sub areas, like you could have the church that's got 6 levels below it. You could have like the power area you take over there. But you can add multiple levels to each area. So the width and the length don't necessarily mean that it's small as such. It's just that it's not as wide. So what I'm going to do is jump on the broom. Excuse me. I'm going to jump on my broom, fly around the map as I chat about my follow-up to the concerns about the beast. So Dying Light 1, when it released, it was a horror survival game. It wasn't trying to be an RPG. So if you hit a zombie, you could kill it in one hit. If you shot a zombie in the head, you would kill it in one hit. I've gone back through a lot of trailers, through IGN, through Dying Light themselves, and really scrutinized in detail some of the stuff. And what I mean by that is, by trade, I'm a computer technician engineer, which means I work on and program games myself. So when I watch a trailer, I'm not looking for what's going on right in front of you. Like, for example, the trees coming up or the building in front of us. I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for draw distance. So what do we see? Do we see buildings that we can potentially go to? Like the bridge, for example, could we go to the bridge? We know in this we can't. So you're looking for things to give you a gravity situation of how big the map is. Like over there, right? You can see a really big city. I think that's St. Paul's Cathedral. And you can go to that, or St. Paul's area. I think you all know what I mean. And then you've got this. the outline of the other area that you can go to. But all these are just, they're padding for the game to make it look bigger than it actually is. Now, if you watched Dying Light the Beast trailers, you will notice, now that I've mentioned that to you, that a lot of the area you see is, instead of this poison area, right, it's all wooded off area. That's the barrier, that's the block. So then, with that said, with me explaining that I am, my trade myself is a computer technician engineer, so I program and make games myself and have worked on some very big games. A lot of the information I have when it comes to games will either be coming from people that are working on games themselves or have worked on games, or it can even be YouTubers, Twitch streamers, discussions on Reddit, Discord, Twitter, etc. A lot of times when a game is under development, it's under an NDA, which I know YouTubers are familiar with that term too. And what that means is, as a non-disclosure agreement, you cannot discuss the ongoing work of a game. So the things that I'm about to discuss today can be talked about. So Timon Spectala and Oni were talking, and basically the sound composer, the person who writes the score for Dying Light 2, is writing the score for Dying Light the Beast. What that means is you're going to get a music system that ramps up every time you're running. Now, the music in Dying Light in this game was good. I preferred number 1, to be honest. I thought it was more creepy and gave a more creepy vibe. But I didn't hate the music of Dying Light 2. I just wasn't a fan of the whole ramp up when you're running or being chased. But that's one thing that has been brought up and has been confirmed that the composer is the same composer as this game. A feature that I do not like, the chase meters coming back, which has also been confirmed by Oni and by Simone Spitala. So if you're a Dying Light 1 fan, you know that when we got chased, we had the little mini-map. We didn't have the compass bar at the top. We had a little mini-map that showed all the little triangles. And yeah, in this game, they brought the chase system, which I didn't like myself because it reminded me of, I don't know, like a Ubisoft Call of Duty type thing where there's just so many icons going on the screen all in one go. And I didn't like that. That takes away from the horror aspect of the game, in my opinion. Again, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. The next thing that has absolutely been confirmed is that the skill tree and the armor system. So let me jump off this and I'll show you. So when you, am I safe here? No, didn't think so. One sec, guys. Let me go somewhere where I'm not going to be rudely interrupted. Should be okay here. I'll say that and then I'll go jump by volatile. Right, so in Dying Light the Beast, the menu system is basically this. And again, that's confirmed by Onizombies. So the difference is in Dying Light 1, there were clothing that you could get and buy, but none of it had stats, right? None of the weapons had stats. If you picked up a gun, it was a gun. If you picked up clothing, it was just that. Or if you bought clothing, it was just clothing. Most of the DLC, from what I can remember in Dying Light 1, was the following stuff. It was all for your buggy and your car. My personal take, this is not from Oni, this is from myself. When I've watched trailers, both again I've watched all the Dying Light trailers back 6 times each, and I've also watched a lot of IGN stuff. But the parkour in Dying Light the Beast is pretty much exactly the same as this. It's like they're not following what we all got used to in Dying Light 1 and what sold 20 million copies. They're following this to the letter. So the same jumping, the same wall running, the same animation when you jump from height and then you do that stupid little roll. That's all coming back. So from Dying Light perspective, they're more following Dying Light 2 than they are Dying Light 1. And that, again, that doesn't make sense because they're trying to push the beast as return to form, right? You can't return to form if you've got RPG mechanics. You can't return to form if you're not using the same parkour system. If you're more relying on Dying Light 2 and Dying Light 1, then it's not really a return to form. I think I'm being chased. One sec, everyone. No, stop it. Sorry, I'm trying to read notes as I go through this. Right, that was another one. Yeah, sorry. As I said, sorry, I'm trying to read notes as I'm playing the game. So as I said, I've watched the trailers back from IGN and also from Techland himself. And one thing that I did pick up on, most of the trailers that we're getting are pre-rendered trailers. So what that means is your trailer that you're putting out isn't necessarily representation of the gameplay that you intend to be in the game, right? So we've seen that with Dying Light when they first put out their trailers and they were showing all sorts of things going on with the survivors and factions and choices really had impact, all that sort of thing. But then when the game came out, it was completely different, and choices didn't really mean a lot. And that said, we're seeing a lot of pre-rendered trailers again with the Beast, and not much gameplay. Now, I did watch a half an hour gameplay with IGN, but it's the same footage that everybody's allowed to put out because obviously NDA. And in the footage that you're watching, if if you were not aware that it's the Beast, right? So say for example it's your average Dying Light 2 player, and you told them that this is just a DLC, but didn't tell them it was Crane, you would never know it's not Crane. That's how much like Dying Light 2 it is. It's actually weird. I mean, I picked up on things like the DLC, or the Beast, sorry, not the DLC, is meant to be set in Switzerland, but the buildings look exactly the same as this in Old Villador. It's got the same like ropes and stuff between the buildings. The rooftops look the same. It's really weird. You don't really see Swedish looking houses, and they've had over 3 years to develop this, so they should have at least changed that by now. Make Sweden look a bit more like Sweden. Make the cars look more Swedish than American. But there you go. What can you say? Um, what else have we got? Right. So again, something else I picked up on the footage from IGN was when Crane goes into his beast mode form. That is so similar, to Aiden's rage mode. Like near enough the same animations, the same everything. I do know that Crane will have his own skill tree, right? So the developers have actually confirmed that as Crane gets stronger and stronger, and I'm presuming kills more Chimera, because I think that's where his powers will come from. You've got a skill tree that you can unlock. Now, can that actually wreck the game? Yeah, yes, it can actually, because you know how people came into Dying Light 2 and they never really played Dying Light 1. So when guns were introduced, they're of the opinion that, oh, but it's a melee game, because a lot of them hadn't played Dying Light 1 where they realized guns are a part of the game. Well, the same thing could be said for Crane's Rage, right? If so, we know that also confirmed by developers, Crane's Rage mode can be activated at any time. You've just got to build it up. But if you can activate that like quite quickly, that's going to be even more overpowered than guns. And let's be real, guns are not actually overpowered because you've still got to find the ammunition for them. You've still got to loot police cars or open chests to get ammo. It's not like you're loaded with bullets, and then when you do shoot a bullet, you get chased by all the bloody ferals anyway. So that makes you think. A next one, and actually a big concern of mine, something I haven't seen in any gameplay trailer and didn't see in IGN's half an hour footage. I haven't seen a grappling hook. Now, we have brought up earlier on in the video that this is a small area, Old Villador, right? And that the beast is apparently, according to Onizombies, the size of this area. So the only way that they can make this, the beast, last longer, the 20 to 40 hour mark, is by slowing you down. So they can do things like add a million zombies on the streets. That will slow you down. Take away the grappling hook means you can't just jump to a rooftop. You've got to actually fight your way through the streets, which is going to slow you down, right? Um, yeah. So when it comes to the grappling hook, I don't know what they're going to do with that. Like I said, I haven't seen it. I'm not saying it's not in the game. I'm just going off what I've seen. But the grappling hook from every trailer and every bit of footage just isn't there. But again, the footage never shows a heads-up display either, so I don't know if we're getting all this markers on screen sort of thing again, or whether at least that will return to like Dying Light style, which is very minimalistic. Something else I've seen in the trailer, which I'm not a fan of one bit, is there's a slow-mo effect you can activate when you're shooting a bow or a gun. So you can run and slide and it hits a slow-mo, or you can jump and shoot and it hits the slow-mo. And I don't like that in Dying Light because it just reminds me of Call of Duty and, you know, all that sort of stuff. Let's have a look at another one. Right, this was something that, as I said at the start of the video, that guy was just looking for arguments. But I brought it up in my previous video. In my opinion, again, when you watch the trailers of anything Dying Light, no matter who it comes from, even Techland themselves, the zombies look like something from Telltale's Walking Dead. They do not look in sync with the game itself, right? Look closely, watch a trailer back and judge for yourself, but you watch the trailers and then as soon as you see the zombies, look at their texture. Now, this dude tried to tell me, arguing, that it was because they were using pre-rendered zombies from this game. No, that's not it at all, because the zombies are wearing different clothes. They're using different animations in some cases. These are zombies that are in the game. They just look rendered really weird. As I said, they look like something from Telltale's Walk of the Dead. They don't look like even Dying Light zombies in this, right? What else have we got? I've touched on I think Crane will level his beast mode up by killing Chimera. So as we've seen in the trailer, he kills the big Chimera, takes the blood, injects himself. I think there will be certain Chimera through the game that we have to hunt, and that's where we will get our beast powers. I could be wrong, but I do think that's where that will happen. My biggest question leading into the beast is, will we get answers from Dying Light 1, even Dying Light 2? For me, as a fan of the first game, as I said, Carl Crane comes in as an agent of the GRE. He's looking for the vaccine so that the GRE can weaponize it, but he ends up siding with the survivors of the tower. You make a lot of friends along the way, but you also end up showing a lot of compassion and just wanting to help people to make them survive. It didn't have the bright, glowy atmosphere of Dying Light 2 with all super bright buildings. Excuse me. It was all about survival. And that's why I think we all took to Crane, because his humanity came out. He ended up turning on the GRE. Now, at the end of the following DLC, as I said in the last video, I always went with the opinion that Crane would never nuke Haran, basically because he knew there were survivors there. And even though he'd been turned by a sentient volatile, he was only a threat at night time. And he would know the survivors in the tower are safe at night. So I'm hoping to see some sort of a wrap up on that. Like, where did the rest of the survivors go? I know when this game came out, Dying Light 2, the developers tried to say there were no survivors and nobody would be returning, but they did. We got Spike, we got the twins. So it'd be nice to see Brecken. It'd be nice to see a few of the other tower survivors and just follow that up. I'd also like to see what happened to Aiden. Although I didn't like his story, I really didn't, and that's what ruined the game for me. It wasn't the game. I don't hate Dying Light 2 as a whole. I just mainly hate the story of Dying Light 2. Because every mission Aiden does is selfish. It's all for somebody that he thinks is his sister, and it's not his sister, right? We all know that. And the reason I'm wondering will we get a wrap up is because obviously Aiden's strength came from the inhibitors and UV light. But when he left at the end of the game, he wouldn't have UV lights and he wouldn't have inhibitors, which means he would sort of turn into his volatile self. Now, we do know that for the OG players, Crane is infected by a sentient volatile, which means that he'd be able to keep his human form, but he would become a problem at night. But we also don't know what the Baron's done to him. There are comics out there for anybody that hasn't read them about Dying Light and the Baron and experiments, but I'm not going to put that into this video because I don't know how close to the comic Techland are going to go or not, so I don't want to put information out there that could be incorrect. But there are comics out there you can find. So that said, talking about the stuff that's coming to Dying Light, like the RPG mechanics are returning, the stats are returning to the armor, the music is returning in the way that it ramps up every time you're fighting or running or climbing. What else? The fact that I'm hoping to see an end to Aiden's story, possibly even a confrontation with Aiden. I know people are sort of thinking that Crane's the beast, and I don't think that's it at all. I think Aiden's the beast without his inhibitors, and I think we might have to fight him at some time. You've only got to look at Jonah Scott's profile, LinkedIn profile, and he hasn't done any voice acting for the beast. In fact, he's working on some anime stuff at the moment, so possibly been written out the story altogether. The only thing I would say myself is if we ever do see an official Dying Light 3, not what we're getting in the Beast, it'd be nice to go back to Haran, right? Because now the canon has been confirmed that there was no nuke launched. It would be nice to go back to the tower. I mean, Techland own them assets already. All they have to do is rush the graphics up into 4K, re-render a few assets. They could rewrite the story. We could actually go back to Haran, and that would be amazing. And for anybody that's an OG player of Dying Light, I don't think we would all moan about paying some extra money to get another Dying Light, a new story in Haran. I have put two videos up on my channel actually, showing the introduction of Dying Light 1 and how the outbreak happened, and Dying Light 2 and how they say the outbreak happened, which was that the GRE managed to create a vaccine and then they were weaponizing it so it got out, blah, 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 and that's how it ended up worldwide. But my only take on that is for the GRE to have captured a sample of the virus, they would have to have captured Crane, which is where the Baron comes in. So I hope we do see that story in the game. We've got a few weeks until launch, and as I said, I have pre-ordered the deluxe edition. I love the Dying Light franchise. Dying Light 1 is still my favorite. I did enjoy Dying Light 2. I did enjoy this, but the story crippled it for me. Like, it really did. And a few other things. Like, I don't like the markers on screen. Yeah, I've got a few niggles, but it was an okay game. But you've sort of got to go with the sales figures, and 20 million from Dying Light 1 compared to 5 million on this says I'm not the only person who thinks that. But that said, guys, sorry for taking up too much of your time. Sorry for rambling. I did write some notes down. I'm not a professional YouTuber, so you'll have to forgive me for that. I was just going off my thoughts and takes, expertise as a computer technician engineer, but also my thoughts as basically just a fan of gaming in general. So that said, I hope we've got a lot of fun coming up in the Beast. I will be making a lot of videos on it. I will say, by the way, looking at these volatiles here, if you watch the trailers or even the gameplay, more the gameplay actually from IGN, there are a ton of volatiles. Absolute stack of them in the forest area. Now, do you remember I said with an area like this small, there are ways to pad it out to make it bigger? Like make a building like this and you can go in every single floor and you can go levels below. But you can also slow the player down by adding things like volatiles. I know Timon Spectator has said that the volatiles in this are particularly hard to kill. So if we're running the street and we don't have a grappling hook, yeah, that will slow us down. That will add to the playtime. But that's it, guys. For anybody that has stayed to the end, thank you so much for your time. I really am sorry about, old man ramblings and getting my thoughts out there. I really do love this game, and I really only do want the best for it. And again, you are all welcome to come to the comment section and talk. Everybody's opinion is valid. That's what it's for. It's an opinion. Just keep it respectful. We can debate all day long. Just keep the comments respectful. But that said, guys, thank you so much for your time. I hope you're all keeping well. I really, really do. I hope you're keeping well in the heat. Stay hydrated. But until the next video, guys, I'm super hyped for the Beast. I don't know whether I'm going to do a Let's Play or do things like secrets and stuff. Let me know in the comments what you'd like to see me do. But again, thank you for staying to the end if you're still here, and I will catch you next time. Take care of yourselves all. Bye-bye.